everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a story time kind of thing. I'm going to share my pumping story. Unique, I know, not everybody pumps for a full year. It's kind of insane, let me tell ya. If you hear anyone crunching, it's Mila. Eating. Yeah, hi. Say hi. Eating her crackers. Just got up from a nap. Yay! Okay. So, let's start. I nursed her for 4 weeks. Or was it 5 weeks? I think it was 4 weeks. I nursed her for 4 weeks. And one time in the middle of the night, it hurt so bad. I mean, it always had hurt. To an extent. Sometimes it hurt more than other times, but it had always hurt to nurse her. And so one time, 4 a.m., I'm nursing her, no sleep, the whole newborn shebang. And I was crying so hard because it hurt so bad, and I was just dreading the next feeding, the next 2 hours, the next counting down. Yeah, you, Missy. Anyhow. Hold on. She wants another cracker. Okay. So yes, I was dreading every time the next feeding, but I wanted to nurse her because that's just what you do. But I wasn't so set in stone if it wasn't going to work out. That's kind of how I went into it. If it wasn't going to be something that both of us could do, then I wasn't going to do it. Anywho, so 4 a.m., I'm crying. It hurts so much. I had Sharp still at the time, and I went to their lactation classes. I went to 2 of them. I'd nurse her. Of course, she would nurse perfectly. Perfectly. She'd gain all the weight she needed because they weighed the baby before and they weighed the baby after. She gained enough, what she was supposed to gain in a feeding. And so we did that, went to 2 classes, went home, still hurt, went back to the class, came home, still hurt, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to put myself through all the pain and the cracked business and all of that yummy stuff that happens. I couldn't do it. I could not be in so much pain. Anyhow. Going past that, I started pumping. I had a pump from my sister. Thank you. I had a pump from my sister. We had the pump in style, just the generic one insurance usually gives you. And then I saw the pediatrician that I have now. And when I saw right before I went to the pediatrician, she was 7 weeks at that point. I went to the pediatrician and I said, I think she has a tongue tie, lip tie, because her lip, the little stringy right here, was kind of close to her gum line, and I thought, that might be a problem with the whole pump or the whole nursing situation. And I joined a Facebook pumping/nursing group, and they were always talking about tongue tie, lip ties. So I looked in her mouth, and sure enough, tongue tie and lip tie. And they say if they have one or the other, they're most likely to have both. So I went to her pediatrician that week and I said, can you check her mouth? Because I think she has a tongue tie, lip tie. She barely opens her mouth, like for a minute, and she was like, she has it, tongue tie and lip tie. And I was like, really? I went to all of those dang lactation appointments, and she looked in her mouth, which I thought she did. I know she stuck her fingers in there. I'm not sure if she actually looked. But she was in there, so I figured if anything was wrong, she would know. But I think the fact that she was getting enough milk was like, oh, well, maybe she doesn't because she is getting enough milk. But it was like killer over here. So that's that. We went to the pediatrician. She asked if I wanted it clipped or not, and I chose not to. I did a little bit of research, not too much. I believe I'm tongue-tied just a little bit, just like hers is. Her tongue isn't that bad. It was mainly the lip. and I talk pretty normal, I think. And for the tongue tie, lip tie surgery, it's a laser, and the baby is awake, and you're holding them down, and there's lots of screaming. And then by that time, she was already 7, 8 weeks, 9 weeks. She was a lot older than maybe if I would have done it when she was first born. It wouldn't have been as traumatic. But you do have to do the stretches with your fingers every so many hours, and they just cry the whole time. And I was already having my own placenta business, hemorrhaging, and I didn't want to throw that on top of it and all of that. I was fine with pumping. She was getting enough milk. Everybody was happy. So that's why I chose that route. Yes. Once she was diagnosed, I was able to... Thank you! I was able to get the hospital grade pump. So I had the pump and style, and I don't have it now, but I had the hospital grade Symphony pump, which if you ever had a chance in your life and you needed to pump, that is the best pump, let me tell you. I am a pumping connoisseur, I'd say. And that was the best one. So I used the pump and style for work when I was working, because I was pumping at work, and then the Symphony for home. And then once I stopped working, I just used the pump and style for the car. If I ever had to go places longer than 2.5, 3 hours, then I would just leave it in the car, pump in the car, pump while I'm driving. I did it all. And then the Symphony will still stay at home. I used the bottles that are, they're Twist. I don't know, the Kind brand, KIINDE. You can pump right into the bags, or you can pour them in the bags. I pumped into the Medela bottles and then poured in the bags and then froze them that way. But you can, I didn't make enough. I made enough combined, but I didn't make enough one or the other. So that's how I did it. I want to say... For anyone out there, pumping is not that bad. People, I mean, this is my opinion. People, like, when I tell them that that's what I did for a full year, it was like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? Don't you feel like a cow? Once you accept it, that this is your life, you're connected to this pump every 3 hours, you move on. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. It is nice because you always get to go home. Like, if you're somewhere and you're like, oh, sorry, I gotta go pump. Then you can go. That's one thing I kind of like. Or in the car. Any situation like that, I sometimes felt judged about my choice to do that. But I was always confident in my choice because that's what I wanted for Mila. I wanted her to have breast milk. But I was okay with not nursing her because I didn't want to be so hurt. So pumping was our agenda, and once you accept it, it is what it is. No judgments. It's all the same. Even if I would give her formula. I supplemented with formula closer to the end. She liked the ready-made, the ones they give you at the hospital. She did not like powder. She liked powder for like a hot minute, so I bought the whole big one, and yep, threw it away because it eventually didn't work for us, and she liked the ready-made. So I have a pumping app still. Let me get my phone. Okay, I'm back. I got my phone. So the pumping app I used is Pumping Tracker, and it has a start and a stop, and you log everything, and I can tell you all my logs. Hold on, there's an app, an ad. Of course, this one has ads. 7, this is how many ounces, Mila, okay, that you drank. Okay, thank you. Some cake. 7,939 ounces, 1,596 pumps, and 791 hours, 53 minutes I pumped. So what I did when I pumped is, in the beginning I used to pump 8 times a day. Good gravy, I know. And I only used to make like 2 ounces a pump. And then by the end, I was only pumping, I got down to 3 pumps, making nearly as much as I did in the beginning. What I noticed with my supply with her is that anytime she had a growth spurt or she needed more, I always made more. It was weird. I was thinking that she was going to be needing more. She's, you know, growing. She's going to need 5 ounces or whatever the amount was. And I would always make that much. There were times when I didn't. When I went into surgery for the DNC, my supply dropped. When I went back to work, my supply dropped. I took fenugreek, which is a good pill. It just makes you smell like syrup. So weird. But my supply grew with her. So that kind of tells me like maybe with the next one I'll be able to nurse, because I do make enough milk. It's just she had the tongue tie lip tie, which is not a good situation when you're trying to nurse. If you have any questions, let me know down below. I know it's a different situation, but I just want anyone else out there that is anyone else out there that is dealing or has to do pumping, it's not that bad. It's a way of life, let me tell you. And there's lots of groups on Facebook that I was a part of. I'm not a part of anymore. I got to leave them, which was nice. That help you out with any questions you have, any tips. There's lots of moms out there. Mila, don't grab it. No. There's lots of moms out there in the same situation. So you are not alone, and pumping is okay. At first I was like, no, blah, blah, blah. No, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And my mom told me one time I was so distraught that I had to do it in the beginning, because you don't know. You just want to be the perfect mom and nurse them and blah, blah, blah. She told me it's not going to be on her college resume. It's not going to be on her, you know, when she's gets a boyfriend, they're not going to say, oh, did your mom nurse you? Sorry, can't do. So then I'm like, okay, Mom, you're right. It's really not that big of a deal. But if you're out there and you're thinking it's like the end of the world, it's okay. It's going to be okay, and you're going to get through it, and then it's over with. I remember sitting down and like thinking, oh my God, I have to pump for like 6 more months. This is terrible. And then all of a sudden I'm like, this is my last pump. All of a sudden we were at a year, and I was like, she was drinking cow's milk, and I was like, that's it. And I remember calling my sister, and I'm like, this is it. This is my last pump. Oh my gosh, it's very nice. It's very nice, because a lot of girls in the group, Facebook group, were always like making a big deal about their last one, and I was thinking, oh man, I still got 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. And then it comes, and it's just a phase, I want to say. It just comes and goes. So it's nothing that you have to do forever, and it's not the end of the world. I promise. You can pump in the car. I pumped in the car. I pumped after my graduation with college. I pumped all sorts of places. I pumped in the back room of my old job. I pumped a lot of places. So it's really not that big of a deal, and don't ever feel less than, because that is the worst feeling. But you're just as great as anybody else. You're just getting it out a different way. So, alright, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my story. If you have any questions, I don't think I left anything out. I'll leave pictures of the symphony for you, and maybe the pump and style. That's it. Alright, thanks for talking and watching. Bye.